right. Good day, everyone. Once again, welcome to another session. I feel this session you'll be blessed by it. The person I'm bringing on board, I've known him for quite a while. I see him beyond. We started knowing each other for, I think altogether, I've known each other for close to going to 5 years, kind of 3 to 5 years, around that age, around that time, right? And for me, I feel this meeting is very strategic because at different points in time, when I shared the talk with him, he found it very interesting, right? And I feel most times this question is a subtle question that is being asked among believers, not just among believers, but among people that are looking up to people in the Christian race or Christian believers, right? And I feel we need to discuss it. And it's all about what we wear, right? And it's very engaging. So the guest I have today, his name is Opeyemi, but I call him Rex, and you will be blessed by it, right? But before we jump into today's session, right, I feel what led us to having the discussion is from Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And it says, "Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God." Right. And Rex, thank you so much for being here. I know I've been planning this for quite a while. Thank you for squeezing out time in your busy schedule to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, bro.
All
Good day,
right.
everyone.
Good day. All right. Okay, Rex. So let's jump into the conversation for today. Do you think God
Yeah.
really cares about what we wear, or is clothing just a personal choice? What do you think? I know you have been in this fashion industry for quite a while. What do you think? And I know you're a strong believer in the faith. So what do you think?
Well, good day, everyone, once again. Yeah. So let's just jump straight into it. One of the things that I started this business with is understanding decency as a person,
Mm,
right? And if we must tell, not judging by just moral standard, if we're judging by our faith as well, we know that decency is one of our core values.
yeah.
And I believe strongly that God cares about what we wear. And I would like to share from a part of the scripture from Matthew chapter 6, verse 25. It says that, therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is life not more than food, and the body more than clothing? Now, it means that if God is not interested about what we wear, He wouldn't mention that we should not be anxious about what we are going to wear.
Mm,
Now, it doesn't mean that we should not appear properly, because also in, I think, 1 Samuel chapter 16, I've forgotten the verse as well. God told Samuel when he went to choose a king in the house of Jesse, he told him that man looks at outward
yeah.
appearance, but God looks at the heart. So it means that God knows that our appearance is something, though He wants us to be intentional about it, but he is not overly too decisive for us that, okay, this is what you should wear, this is not what you should wear. There are rare cases like that, but God is actually interested in what we wear, what we put on our body.
Well,
I believe strongly. Yeah.
thank you so very much for sharing, right? And there's something you said when you're in your conversation. You mentioned the word modesty, right? So, but as Christian,
Yeah.
and I know you are a strong believer in the faith, and as a Christian and as a fashion designer, how do you now balance style with modesty, or are they separate apart? What do you think?
Mm. So for me, interestingly, for men, we we have how would I put this now? We have little issues when it comes to modesty in our dressing.
Mm,
Now, there are some men that are I really do not understand the concept behind sagging. You
yeah.
know,
But let me pause you
it
there,
doesn't
right?
make
So
sense.
People said that sagging came from prisoners, and I'm surprised that we are adopting things that are not supposed to be adopted because back then prisoners don't give them belts so that they don't kill themselves, right? So sagging
Mm-hmm.
came from prison, and I'm now surprised it has not become a style in quotes. But go on, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it just emphasizes the myopic point of view people use when they are judging appearance.
Mm,
You know, it can be very crazy that I mean, it's not even crazier in the world now that we have men dressing obviously like women, not
mm,
just even in the clothing alone. They wear makeup, fix nails, and all of these things. And well, I think modesty is very important.
yeah.
Modesty is very, very important. I mean, you don't have to expose the part of your body to, in quotes, look sexy,
Mm,
for lack of another word. So it makes no sense that even men these days, sagging, showing, there's something they call butt cleavage now. I mean,
mm,
things that look absolutely unattractive, and I don't know how people find these things attractive and all that. So I think modesty is actually very, very important. There's a part in the Bible where I think it was Paul that was talking about that they want women to dress modestly,
mm,
with decency and propriety, adorning themselves, not with extravagant, elaborate hairstyles, you know, dramatic looks, and all of those things. I mean, I just believe that yes, it's important to always look modest, and it's not about the extra, 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 extra. Simplicity is classic. Well, that's
wow.
my mantra when it comes to dressing. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate what you just said, right? The place of modesty, the place of the scriptures you also raised, because sometimes we think that we're living by, okay, we're just trying to impress people, we're just trying to be holy, but I kind of think it leads us to the next conversation. And I feel, is there such a thing as dressing too holy or too worldly? Where is the line, or where can the line be drawn between those two?
Now this one is quite dicey because, um, okay, is there anything as dressing too holy?
Yeah.
I I think it's a thing of personal point of view.
Mm,
I think it is relative to everyone because, for instance, God can be dealing with me as a person and He says, "Opeyemi, I don't want you to wear suit anymore."
wow.
Now, if I take that consecration and I try to enforce it on another person, then it makes
Mm,
no sense because God is probably dealing. It could be as a result of I value suits so much that I can spend anything on suits.
mm,
No matter what comes into my account, I'm thinking, oh, how do I afford this suit? Once the money comes into my account, I run to it and I get it, and it is getting in the way of other important things that I need to do. And then God decides to consecrate me and tells me personally, I don't want you to wear suits anymore. And then probably I'm not leading a congregation, and then I make it a rule. In our church, we don't wear suits. It makes no sense when um, people try to poach their personal consecrations with God, try
mm,
to poach it on other people. So I don't think there's anything like dressing too holy, right? Because I really do not know how God is dealing with that particular person
yeah.
and why they are dressed. But I think people need to learn how to combine what they have
Mm,
to make them look attractive to other people. You know, dressing too worldly. I wouldn't say there's anything like dressing too worldly. I just think there are people who do not have fear of God when they're dressing. you know,
I like that.
yeah. Honestly, I think some people don't have fear of God when they're dressing. I mean, seriously, lately in church, it's a big deal when you see some ladies come to church with the way they are dressed. And you will ask them, they will tell you, yes, I'm a Christian, I love God. And you'll be wondering that does this person really love God, truly, truly? Oh? But in their heart of hearts, they believe they love God. right? And who am I to judge their relationship with
Yeah.
God? It's their personal dealing with God, you know.
Yeah.
But auntie, what you're wearing makes absolutely no judgment of you really love what you're saying, you know. So I wouldn't want to be the judge of dressing too holy or dressing too worldly. But I think anyone who fears God knows that there is a limit to what I can do when it comes to dressing or my appearance. Not because I even don't want another man to fall because of me,
Yeah.
but because I know that my body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, and there is a way the Holy Spirit will want me to present myself in this world. Because this body we have is a gift.
Yeah.
So I don't want to present the gift that God has given me anyhow to other people to see. I want to present it in the truest and finest form. Now that will lead me to saying something like, let's look at gold, right? When we see gold, it has to be treated, you know, refined into its finest form.
Yeah.
So when God gives us our body, it's not for us to just use it anyhow, treat it anyhow, display it anyhow. There's a way it has to be packaged. There's a way it has to be refined. It has to be clothed and dressed for us to look, you know, attractive as God will want us to look attractive. Right? So I think I'll just stop there. So I won't, go too long.
All right. But thank you so much, right? And I feel for me, as you're talking, how we now, as Christians now, how are we meant to be following trends? Or because you said something in your previous conversation, you said that we should manage what we have, we should, as much as possible, with what we have, let's try and look decent. And remember, we read Romans chapter 12, verse 2. But now, as Christians, shouldn't we not follow the trends? And what's your take?
For me, Romans 12:2 is, it says, do not conform to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't believe that there is anything new in the world. I think everything is redeveloped,
Yeah.
innovated on.
Yeah.
You know, if there's anything new, it is very rare. I believe that things that just come into and become trends, they are not really something new. It is something someone sat somewhere, got an inspiration and redefined it, and then it became accepted by the world.
True.
Right? Now, should we follow trends? Yes, follow trends, please. Because how do you want to stay on the market? For instance, for someone like me now, right? We are talking about fashion today. The only way I can understand what is going on in the fashion space is to stay on trends of fashion.
True.
Keep myself updated. Because if I don't, now where I can now draw the line is because conformity doesn't mean that you can't follow. Conformity means that you know your line and you don't cross that boundary.
Yeah.
It means you know your line. This is the kind of trend I can't jump on. This is the kind of song I can't up on. This is the kind of style I can't up on. But yeah, trend is meant to be created by anyone and everyone.
True.
But how do I take it in that I will not conform to the moral standard of the world? How do I jump on a trend that is not going to make me one of them? Because it's really important that we know that there is a very fine line between because this thing is globally accepted, let me do something like that.
Yeah.
And it's important that we know how crucial it is for us not to conform to what is happening in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, for somebody like me, it takes a long time for me to actually even up on trends. Personally, it takes a long time. Any kind of trend, whether it's a new song. Before I sang Gaze Baba's new song
Yeah.
that I sang with Lawrence Oyo, it was about like maybe 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later.
Wow.
Not even because I don't know that he's a gospel artist, but it's just my own personal. I try to always analyze.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the scope behind this thing?
Yeah.
Because you are popular doesn't mean anything you dish out, I should just eat it
Mm,
and take it like that. So I take my time before I up on trends to understand it. Okay, in many times I look at it. This trend, how do I refine it to suit what I stand for?
mm,
So what many people do is anything is trending like this, they just jump on it straight
true.
on.
True.
You can actually refine your own and make something reasonable and beautiful out of it,
Mm,
in so many ways. So I believe people need to actually like follow trends. It's not a big deal, but conformity means that you are already obeying the standard that has drawn a line for you. You're already crossing that boundary that you're not supposed to cross. So that's it for me. I mean, that's the best way I believe it,
yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, right? And for me, there's something you said, right, concerning following up of trends, you trying to redefine the trend in your own
Mm.
way and all that, right? But I feel it kind of leads us to the next conversation, right? Because I know you're a fashion designer in your industry, in this particular industry space you have been working on for years, right? But have you ever felt judged in the church because of what you wear?
Mm. Have I felt judged in church before? Eh, well, I mean, I do my best to dress modestly, and sometimes I just add a little jara, just to let people know that, yeah, this is what I really do. So if I'm judged, I don't think it's judged. I've ever been judged negatively. I think it's just, people saying, calm down now. Do you want to press our neck kind of thing? Maybe them
Mm,
appreciating the extra mile I go to, produce something extraordinary. You get. There was a day I dressed like Superman to church.
wow.
Yeah. I made a kaftan and then I designed a cape for it. And so it was a Thanksgiving Sunday, and I looked like Yoruba Superman, in service. That was after COVID,
Wow.
and I think that was our first Thanksgiving Sunday after COVID when church resumed. And so it was shocking to everyone that everyone came with normal, native attire, agbada, and all of that, and I came in like Superman.
Our
It was
African
really
Superman.
interesting that day. It was very interesting, but I've never been judged negatively. But just like I said, right? I mean, I mentioned earlier that there are some people that when they enter into church, you already know they're a distraction because of what they are
Mm,
wearing. And is I mean, we are humans. Even the
true.
Bible says that man judged by outward appearance. It
Mm,
is God that see the intent of the heart.
yeah.
So it takes extra level of discerning to know that, this person is not really a bad person. No, this person is just dressed like a bad person. Doesn't mean the person is a bad person.
True.
But many times you don't need to put people through that stress of trying to discern your heart, because it's easy for God to directly discern the heart.
Yeah.
But for man, before we try to discern your heart, we have judged by your outward appearance. So it's important that also as people we learn the art of modesty for us to appear properly in places and all of that. But I've never really been judged in church before.
Wow. Man, I like that, right? Because I thought because you are leading trends, you're in the fashion space, people will just say, this Bobo, what is he doing here? What is he trying to show off, right? But I like the word you said, he's not pressing our neck, right? But I feel that's very interesting. But I feel it kind of leads us. There's something you said, right? When you wore that kind of, I wish I saw that picture because I feel it does creativity at work, right? Because
Mm,
as Christians, how can we not express creativity through fashion without compromising our faith?
mm. For instance, personally, design. I can't design a style for, say, for instance, I'm designing for a woman
Yeah, but if they give you
that
plenty
would.
of money and they say this is what they want, will you reject
I'm
it?
going to turn it down. Yes, I'll
Wow.
reject it. Personal decision. Personal decision. You know, if I ever venture into producing something like say if I ever venture into producing something like say I'm producing bikini now, it will be very difficult for somebody like me to run ads because
How you go in
honestly,
market?
do you understand? It will be very difficult for somebody like me to run that kind of market. So if I would, if I would ever branch into something like that, I will either not, I'll probably not be the person running the company at that time, or there is another manager for that aspect of the business because I really don't want to. I mean, personally, I take decency personal
Yeah,
because the way God made us, right? Everybody, we all have the gift of imagination.
true.
Every human, we can wonder how people who were born blind but can still relate with other human beings
True.
and do other things that every other human being does. They eat, they take their baths, they brush their teeth. Some even go as far as learning musical instruments, learning how to do different things, and they were born blind. So how are they able to do all those things? It's because there is a inner seeing that every other person don't pay attention to, and it's the power of imagination. It's our mind. There is something that I heard one time that we see with our mind, we only capture with our eyes. We see with our mind, we only capture with our eyes. You understand? So something that is extra, that can give extra imagination to people, it makes no sense when, for instance, a woman is exposing cleavages and all of those things because you are giving people something to feed on. They have captured an image that they will go and reminisce on, keep reminiscing on over and over and over again. So for somebody like me, I don't care how much you are bringing in, please take your money and go. It doesn't fall into my personal value. It doesn't align with my personal value. And even when I design for men, I don't design something for a man that you start looking like gay, all those kind of things. Take your money and go.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, once it is going out of scope of decency, I'm not interested. In fact, it's one of the things that I I decided earlier on in business that, and I want to start sensitizing people about the luxury of simplicity.
Yeah.
Simplicity in everything. It just appears simple, but be elegant. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it affects creativity if you know your values.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to expose a part of the body, you don't have to do too much for you to stand out in a place. In fact, when we look at people who are actually, in fact, let's take a study and look at, for instance, now look at somebody like Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, we have used this example 1,001 times. He wears his blue jean and his t-shirt
Yeah.
everywhere he goes. He can afford as many high-end fashion brands as possible.
Yeah.
He wears that everywhere he goes. If he's going to see a dignitary like maybe the president of the United States, he wears his suit. He doesn't carry the old blings and everything. I'm not saying that maybe those things are wrong. It is as everyone perceives it. As you perceive it, it's your choice. But I mean, for somebody like me, I prefer the simplicity of appearance.
Yeah.
I don't have to look, to carry 1 billion stones on clothes because I want to press their neck.
Yeah.
I don't see all those things as creative. I just sometimes think that, okay, you can think outside of the box. How can I, innovate on this simple design and it will still look extremely different from every other thing you've seen before, and people will appreciate it. So I don't think our creativity is affected in any way because we're trying to look decent. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, And for me, I feel there's something you said, right? Because when we Christians are entering certain spaces, because to be honest, in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, God has called us with this dominating mindset that we should kind of dominate the earth. Right?
Mm,
So if we're entering such
yeah.
spaces, we should always remember our values. Our values is what we should hold up close. We shouldn't let go of our values because we're entering such spaces that, oh, if we have to trade off
Absolutely.
our values because we want to enter this space. I feel just like you rightly said, if I'm going to enter certain spaces or so clothes or so designer fashion brands for different kind of clients, if they are asking for something that is not within my values, sorry, I'm taking it off, right? I'm not going to do it
Yeah.
no matter the amount of money. And that's what we should do as Christians, always holding on to our values, right?
Mm.
Well, I feel it kind of leads us to the next conversation, right? And do you think the way Christians dress affects how outsiders see the church?
Now we have to be honest here, right?
Yeah.
Mm. For a couple of generations now, there are certain set of people we see outside that when we see them, or okay, let's run a simple survey. If I mention SU, what comes to your mind?
Christians already.
Like you already know that aspect of Christians that
Yeah.
dress that way, right? And we
Yeah.
know it's about dressing.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think because of the new generation of Christians, right, and understanding that, of course, our appearance, because appearance too goes beyond just what we wear. Sometimes, in fact, what we wear on in terms of perfumes speaks
Mm,
volume as well.
true.
You know,
I never thought towards that line actually.
yeah,
Wow.
we wear perfumes as well, right? And it's important that Christians know now that how we appear. If it is not important, God will not tell Samuel that man looks at outward appearance.
Mm,
It is I, God, that looks at the intent of the heart.
mm,
So if appearance is not important, God will not tell Samuel, say, this physique that you're looking at, this this guy's dressed well, is not what me I'm looking at, oh, but I know that it's
mm.
important to you. So it means that appearance is important to human.
Yeah.
It is important to all of us. So
Yeah.
how we come out, how we appear, yes, it affects how the world sees the church, and that is why I have I have a little problem with Christians that are now overdoing, because now that we are trying to look so good, there are some Christians that actually overdo it now.
Mm.
There are some Christians that I just wonder, like, don't you have limit in your life? Like, don't you know? You will see some people and you just be wondering, like, it is well, oh. You understand? So it's a lot of sensitization to do
Yeah.
in our space for people to understand that there there is a way we need to appear, and we cannot go overboard, and we
Mm.
can't also appear less. We can't be dressing as slaves and be expecting the respect of a king.
Mm.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work. Yeah. And also, you can't be like somebody used to say that, I don't think they dress past my helper.
I like that.
But what he's just trying to say is that I can't be projecting what I am not. I
Mm.
get the part of look good, the whole subtle fake it till you make it kind of appearance.
Yeah.
Look like a miracle, right?
Yeah.
I get that part. But it doesn't mean that for instance, some people now, you want to how do I put this in a beautiful context now? Say you want to go and see someone who wants to give you a deal and all of that, and the person judging your appearance. Okay, there was a time in church that somebody was hailing me and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And I told the person that if I analyze what I'm wearing to you now, that you won't believe it. That day, the jean I was wearing, it was I collected it from my elder brother, and my eldest brother had worn that jean. He passed it to him. It was passed to me.
I
you
like
know,
that.
the shirt I was wearing was 150 naira. It was a thrift. I'm not talking years ago. I'm talking something around like 3 or 4 years ago. The shirt was a thrift. Okay, the shoe, the Chelsea boot I was wearing was, I did it for a discounted fee that year for 10,000 naira. Yeah. The socks I was wearing was 15 naira. I got it as a thrift as well.
Wow.
Okay. Yes. The trench coat I wore on it. If I can find the picture, I'll send it to you. Maybe after this meeting, you see.
I don't
The
mind
trench
seeing
coat,
it.
the trench coat was 400 naira.
Wow.
400 naira. And you wouldn't believe if I didn't tell you, because the way I styled it, it wasn't looking too extravagant, it wasn't looking too extra, and it wasn't looking bad. It was looking good, like premium good. Like you would think, say, this guy said, go, you got that.
I'm telling
But you
you.
know, no say the way I take gather with I wear.
Mm.
I use permutation and combination that year.
Mm.
So how we dress, the world will always, it will always affect how the world sees us. It's just for us to know where we draw the line,
Yeah.
and not to make ourselves start looking like slaves.
Mm.
Because we're trying to be humble doesn't mean we should dress like we are suffering. Even if you are
Yeah.
suffering, don't look like what you are going through. Because there's some help that, if it's not inspired by God, if it is inspired by human judgment, right? There are some places that a roadside beggar cannot enter.
True.
You know this guy now, Ashakan here.
Yeah.
You know how it goes about helping people on the roadside, right?
Yeah.
You will know that in a way it seems more like God really just remembered those people to help them. But there are some places that those people cannot enter because of how they are dressed. And there are some people in those spaces that can help them if they have access to enter those places. But because of how they are appearing, they even, in fact, many people subject themselves because of how they appear.
Mm.
And sometimes they feel suppressed when they interact with people in the secular world because of their appearance. I mean, carry yourself. You are the son and daughter of the king, the king of
Mm.
kings.
Mm.
You carry prestige for body now.
Yeah.
No, they no, they appear anyhow. Anyway, I don't dey talk too much. Oh God.
But thank you so much, right? And I feel it kind of leads us to what you said, right? Because you said that God doesn't look at outward appearance, right? But God looks at the heart. But
Yeah.
why does people seem to look at your clothes first? They don't look at your heart first. Is your clothes first?
Mm. Well, I don't know the dynamics of what goes on in everyone's mind, but I think number one, it's a conditioning.
Mm.
Now, let's take it back to the Garden of Eden. When when Adam and Eve, when they had the fruit, the Bible recorded that their eyes opened and they saw that they were naked,
Yeah.
right? So I believe there is there is there is a deposit of appearance that has been given when that action happened,
Mm.
that we always see the outward appearance first.
Mm.
Because let's be honest, if they ask you now to go and if they ask you to calculate 2 plus 2, your answer 4.
Yeah.
But if they give you calculus now, you'll be like, please give me some time. Searching the heart is more difficult than judging by outward appearance.
True.
So I would rather go for the faster one than be trying to check your heart. What if I not check the heart finish and say
Mm.
that you're a bad person, true? And I'll be like, why
Mm.
did you not stress me to come and be checking?
Mm.
So I believe everyone resorts to judging by the outward appearance first. I also believe that it doesn't stop at the clothes, right? It goes further to many times for somebody like me now, right? When I meet somebody newly, definitely how you are dressed first is You first build an impression, then I go further to try and have a conversation with the person and pick their mind. How does this person see some certain things? When I see that, okay, maybe the guy is just struggling, no really get much, but if let's say he gets sense for head, yeah, you understand, right? And there are some people when you hear them speak too, their mindset is worse than their dressing. And you're like, oh my god, you just try to move on, you know. So I think it's easier to judge by physical appearance than trying
Yeah.
to search the heart. I think it's easier. Yeah.
Well, and for me, right, I love how you put it, right? But what advice would you give young believers who love fashion but feel guilty about it?
I don't think there's anything to feel guilty about in fashion. No. Why?
Yeah.
I personally don't think there's anything, except you are doing what is wrong. Then you can feel guilty. I understand the fact that the space is, I believe fashion space is oversaturated. I really believe it is oversaturated. In fact, one of the advice I can give to anyone who wants to venture into fashion now is go and intern first before you start.
Mm, mm,
For somebody that did a little bit of interning, and I wish I did more interning before I started. My eyes have seen a lot. My eyes still see plenty.
well,
So I would advise, go and intern first before you. But let's dive back to the question. There's nothing to feel guilty about, except you already know that what you want to go and do is not proper. I think
mm,
that's where anyone can feel guilty
yeah.
because you have not done anything wrong to feel guilty. Fashion is a business blessed by God. It is a business blessed by God. So I don't think there is any reason for anyone to feel guilty. If you're passionate, go for what you want, have the knowledge, study, serve, then launch, and you become an unstoppable force. Yeah.
Well, all right. Thank you so much for sharing, right? And I feel at different points in time, just like you rightly said, as
Yes, sir.
Christians, when we are entering such spaces, we need to always understand our values, right?
Mm.
We shouldn't just, and I love the example you gave when you're talking about always go and intend, because at different points in time, there's this part of us that tells us that what's the point of intending when we know it all, right? That know it
Mm.
all syndrome. Let me just call it a
Mm.
syndrome, right? But I feel it's not a tool any believer should hold on to. We should let it go, be humble, and be able to learn, right?
Yeah.
I feel it kind of leads us to the last discussion of this particular session.
Yes,
And I
sir.
feel, I know you have been in the fashion design space. I know you also play a very important role in the place of ministry in church, right? But can
Yeah.
fashion actually be a tool for ministry? If yes, how?
Mm. Can fashion actually be a tool for ministry? Absolutely. I I personally believe anything you are doing as a Christian is a ministry.
Mm,
Anything, anybody, if you know you are a Christian, whatever you're doing as a Christian is a ministry.
mm,
Because I'm one of the people who believe that it is not until you climb the pulpit or you hold the mic before you are doing ministry. Your
yeah.
life is a ministry. The day we give our life to Christ, we signed up for ministry already. The Bible says that let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So we have to be intentional about what we do and who we represent, the kingdom we represent, right? There was something I was saying today that for somebody like me, the way I run business, sometimes you might look at me and just wonder that kilo shape boy, and honestly, it's just me knowing that I partnered with God. So there are certain things I do out of instruction that I perceive from God, and I know that normally for the world standard. In fact, a lot of people say that if you don't have If you're not brutal, you can't do business.
Yeah, I keep hearing that a lot.
A lot of people say it. I've heard some Christians say it, some old people say it, Christians, and I'm like, no, this is not. Now, I'm not saying you should take nonsense, right?
Mm,
But you are not meant to be a devil sider
mm,
because you are doing business. I don't know if you understand.
yeah.
I've heard, for instance, I've heard a pastor say that if I give you work and you fail at it, just forget it. You can never get a second chance.
Mm,
And he was preaching on the pulpit when he said that. In my heart of heart, I was like, the God that gave you second,
mm,
how would he feel hearing what you're saying? Do you understand?
mm,
The same God who gave you second chance, he gave you grace
mm,
and mercy,
mm,
wiped off whatever you've done before. And even the things that you have probably even like made mistakes about that you had overlooked. And then you now become, because you have attained a level of excellence, as so it speak, right?
mm,
You now think anyone who wants to come across you has to be excellent all of the time. And this is one of
mm,
the issues we have in our faith. We always think, even the Bible says that we have given our life to Christ does not mean we are not going to face some level of, you know, trials and temptations.
true.
Because everybody used to think that when we give our life to Christ, it means that we go just the ball every day,
Yeah.
party every party after party. But
Yes,
it's not
so.
really like that. We will definitely sometimes fail. Look at the prodigal son. He took his own share of the property, whatsoever, went to squander it. The day he came back, the father did not ask him any question. The first thing he did was open up his arms to embrace him.
Mm,
And I see that a lot of Christians these days, we don't even have that anymore. Why? Because we are looking for perfect people everywhere.
yeah.
And that's why church is filled up with forming people.
Mm,
People are not perfect in church. Let's be very honest.
true.
People have problems,
True.
but everybody they form for everybody. Nobody wants to, because if I talk within they do me now, it go turn church gist. Everybody goes
I'm
abia.
telling
They come,
you.
they look, they say, that's that brother that gave that girl belle.
But
He this
jokingly,
and
right?
that.
I'm currently facing this example you said. I'm currently facing
Mm.
something like this in my own church, right? But
Wow.
it's not pregnancy this time. But it's because I told someone my gist just by telling the person, just being opened. Because I thought, oh, the
Mm.
church is a family. That's what they always told me while growing up, that church is your second family. I said, okay, if this is my second family, meaning that I can
Yes.
be opened. Being open now led people to carry my gist around. And I'm not thinking, okay, so next time, meaning that my openness will not reach certain people because I don't want to be open anymore.
Mm. You understand? So it's a really big issue. Well, anyways, um, let's not digress too far. Anyways, so fashion is a ministry
Yeah.
as a Christian,
Yeah.
and just like I said, right, let your light so shine before men that when they see your good works, they will glorify your Father in heaven.
Yeah.
You don't have to conform. You don't have to. You don't have to be a devil sider before you show that you are really good at
Mm,
business. You
mm,
don't have to extort people. You don't have to. You don't have to. Do crazy stuff. You don't have to
mm.
cheat your way.
Yeah.
Uh because money is crazy. The love of money has driven a lot of people into what we don't know.
Yeah.
So, but when you know your values and you know who you stand for, and that is who you let to reflect in all you do, we know our value is based on the solid rock of Christ, right?
Yeah.
And we know that that's who we stand for. So everything we do has to reflect it, has to reflect Christ, right? So
Yeah.
as long as we keep letting our light shine, I mean, how many Christians will get to their workplace now, and the people working under them will say that our guy is a good Christian, oh, not
Mm,
because they see you fasting and praying,
yeah.
but even in your conduct, you are the one that will call somebody today and say that let's add one more zero. you know, let's just quickly do that magic. You are into construction. You wrote 60 cement, and then you used 40 cement, and then you capped the remaining. All those things. You are the Christian that when you design a dress for, because the person is a celebrity, you then help them elongate their own ministry of the world very, very well, because it should be my money, they want to pay me.
Yeah.
So as a Christian, you have to reflect on what you do. It reflects in the decisions you make, how you run your company, how you interact with clients. For somebody like me, to be very honest, when I'm sewing, many times I found myself praying on the clothes, that as my client is wearing, okay, funnily, I have some difficult clients, right?
Yeah.
That as they sew their clothes, I am praying that they must not have problem with their clothes.
I like that prayer.
There are difficult people like that, though.
Yeah.
That I'll be praying that God forbid that they will have problem with their clothes, because once they see one small issue like this, they will make it seem as if you have never taken any training before in your life. Very, very difficult people, but God will be with them anyways. So sometimes, and other times, I actually pray, and I'm like, I pray for this person that I'm making this clothes for, that you keep rising higher and higher. I do it. I do it very, very well. So whatever we do as Christians is already a ministry for us, signed up for when we receive the life of Christ. So yes, absolutely, I agree with that, saying that yes, can fashion be a tool for tool as ministry? Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Well, that brings us to wrap, right? And thank you so much for sharing. I like the way you didn't just end the conversation around fashion, right? Because sometimes people will be listening to this conversation and just be thinking, okay, it's only about fashion. They're talking about what we wear, but the way you now took it outside the four walls of just fashion, you now took it to being ministry, right? Because ministry now, initially back then when I was growing up, I always thought ministry is always you being a pastor, you being a bishop, and the list goes on, right? But now the dynamics of things have shifted. Right where you are on your social media platform, what kind of things are you sharing? Because that is your pulpit, right? Even
Yeah.
the example you've also gave, even in your workplaces, right? Those are places where you use to share the gospel. The gospel is not only shared while you're on Sundays. Gospel needs to be shared on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, any part of the day. The gospel always needs to be shared, not just on a Saturday or a Sunday, right? And for me, it kind of brings us to the
Yes,
end
sir.
of the conversation. What advice or what departing words will you give us as we come to the end of this session?
Parting words. One, always know that men will always judge you by your appearance first before they try to know if you're a nice person or not.
True.
So don't appear anyhow. I always have this personal mantra: I cannot dress like a slave and expect to be treated like a king or
True.
like a queen. It's
True.
not possible. So how I appear into places is very important. So be intentional about what you wear. Be intentional about how you look. Be intentional about how you smell. Be intentional about what you say. And just as you're doing you, do you in a way that people will really love. I mean, how many people thank God that they met you every day?
Yeah.
When a new person meets you, would they say that thank God I met this person? Or they're like, oh my God, how did I get to meet this person? And it starts from how you appear, then to how you interact with them. So I think that's it for me. Always have it at the back of your mind that man looks at outward appearance. It only takes a discerning heart to know your heart. So yeah, be intentional about your appearance, and just, in fact, some people's problem is hidden behind how they appear, not necessarily because one village person is following them. Yeah, village people. Some people, they are their own village people. So
Yeah.
once they can switch their appearance, yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you so very much for having this session, right? Thank you so much, guys. So, for everyone listening, please reach out to Rex. He does a fantastic work in the fashion space. Please reach out to him on as much as possible, right? I feel if you Google his name, you'll be able to search
Like I
him
just
and
said,
get his.
Tobati Joye, any platform.
Okay, say the name again.
I said Tobati Joye on any platform.
Okay. All right, guys, please, as much as possible, he did a fantastic work, and I have seen part of what he sows, right? And he does an amazing work. Please, as much as possible, guys, it's just like Rex just said. At different points in time, gospel is not just on Sundays. And beyond that, what we wear is actually also a ministry tool. Dress decent, dress modesty, but most importantly, never forget you are an ambassador of Christ. I feel
Oh.
that's the most important thing. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Please remember to subscribe and do have an amazing time. God bless you.